The human who outran her. Entire planet Zara pressed her scaled hands against the observation deck window of her ship, the Stellar Wind. Her violet eyes tracked the small blue planet below as it spun slowly in the darkness of space. Her people, the Vorthak, had been watching this world called Earth for many cycles, now studying its inhabitants with growing concern. The humans were dangerous. That much was clear from their endless wars and their rapid technological growth. But what made Zara's commander nervous was something else entirely. It was their physical capabilities that defied all known biological laws. Commander Thex entered the observation room, his forearms crossed behind his back. His silver skin gleamed under the ship lights. As he approached Zara, "The test subject has been selected," he announced in their native tongue, "a human female from the northern continent. She calls herself Lisa Martinez." Zara turned from the window. Her long purple hair swayed as she moved. "Why a female?" she asked. "The males seem more aggressive in their nature." Thex made a sound that resembled laughter among their species. "That is exactly why we chose her. If a human female can do what our scientists predict, then we must prepare for the worst. The males would be unstoppable." The plan was simple yet terrifying. They would strand Lisa Martinez on Kepler 7, a harsh world where the Vorthak military trained their elite soldiers. The planet had gravity 3 times stronger than Earth temperatures, that could freeze blood in seconds, and predators that had evolved specifically to hunt intelligent prey. If she survived even one day, it would confirm their worst fears about humanity. 3 days later, Lisa Martinez stood in the cargo bay of the Vorthak ship wearing nothing but her running clothes and sneakers. She had been jogging in Central Park when the bright light engulfed her. Now she faced creatures that looked like tall lizards with too many arms and eyes that seemed to glow with their own light. The tallest one with silver skin spoke to her in broken English. "You will be placed on world below. Survive if you can." Lisa looked around the strange metal room with its alien technology and bizarre symbols. She was scared, but something deeper burned in her chest: anger. These creatures had taken her from her life, from her family, from her morning run without any explanation. "How long do I need to survive?" she asked, her voice steady despite her fear. The silver creature seemed surprised by her calmness. "1-day cycle." "You will not." Lisa smiled, an expression that made several Vorthak step backward unconsciously. "Watch me." Kepler 7 was everything the Vorthak had promised, and worse. The moment Lisa stepped onto its surface, the crushing gravity tried to drive her to her knees. The air burned her lungs with each breath, and the ground beneath her feet was jagged rock that seemed designed to cut through anything soft. But Lisa had run marathons in Death Valley. She had completed ultra-marathons through mountain ranges that would kill most people. She had trained her entire life for challenges that pushed human endurance to its breaking point. This was just another race. The first Vorthak predator found her 2 hours after landing. It was something like a wolf, but with metallic claws and 6 legs that moved faster than anything she had ever seen. Lisa did what humans do best when faced with impossible odds. She ran. The creature was built for short bursts of speed. But Lisa had something it did not. She had endurance. The beast chased her across frozen plains, through valleys filled with razor-sharp crystals, and up mountains that scraped the purple sky. After 6 hours of constant pursuit, the predator collapsed from exhaustion. Zara kept running back on the ship. Zara watched the tracking display with growing amazement. The human had been moving non-stop for 18 hours. The temperature had dropped to levels that should have frozen her blood solid. She should have been dead from the gravity alone. Instead, her heat signature showed she was still maintaining a steady pace across the continent. "This cannot be accurate," Zara whispered to herself. Commander Thex joined her at the display. His violet eyes reflected the same disbelief. "Our instruments show she has covered over 200 kilometers. The gravity alone should have crushed her bones on the planet's surface." Lisa had found a rhythm. The key was not to fight the gravity, but to work with it. Each step became a controlled fall forward. Each breath of victory against the burning air. She had learned to read the terrain, to spot the predators before they spotted her. Most importantly, she had learned that this world, like every challenge in her life, was just a matter of putting one foot in front of the other. The second day brought new horrors, temperature fluctuations that swung from frozen wasteland to scorching desert within hours, storms that hurled stones the size of cars through the air, creatures that hunted in packs with intelligence that matched her own. Lisa adapted. She used the caves during the worst storms. She learned which plants were safe to eat and which streams would not poison her. She discovered that many of the predators were actually afraid of her constant movement. Most creatures on this world moved in short bursts followed by long periods of rest. Lisa never stopped. By the third day, the Vorthak crew was in chaos. Half of them wanted to retrieve her, immediately convinced she was some kind of weapon disguised as a civilian. The other half insisted on continuing the test, desperate to understand what they were witnessing. Commander Thex studied the data with growing horror. She has been moving for 70 hours straight. Our best soldiers cannot maintain combat readiness for more than 12 hours in those conditions. Zara pointed to another reading, her body temperature, her heart rate. Everything suggests she is not just surviving, she is adapting. The planet is changing. Her and she is changing with it. On Kepler 7. Lisa had indeed changed. The thin air had forced her lungs to work more efficiently. The crushing gravity had made her muscles denser, stronger. The constant threat had sharpened her senses until she could hear a predator's heartbeat from a kilometer away. She had become something more than human while remaining completely human. The end of the test period arrived. Lisa stood on a mountain peak looking up at the stars. She knew the alien ship was up there watching her, waiting to see if she would collapse, if she would finally succumb to the impossible conditions. Instead, she smiled and began to run down the mountain. Not because she was trying to escape, but because running was what she did. It was what humans did when faced with the impossible. They kept moving. The rescue beam found her mid-stride, still running after 96 hours on a world designed to kill anything that dared to live on its surface. She was dehydrated, exhausted, and covered in cuts that would have hospitalized most beings. But she was alive and she was still moving. Back in the medical bay of the Vorthak ship, Lisa sat on an examination table while alien doctors ran tests. They could not believe the creatures spoke in their own language, but their gestures were universal. Amazement, fear, and something that might have been respect. Commander Thex approached her with Zara beside him. "We must ask," he said in his careful English, "how did you survive?" Lisa thought about the question. She remembered every step of the journey, every moment when giving up would have been easier than taking another breath. Every time the gravity tried to crush her, every time the cold tried to freeze her blood, every time a predator tried to make her its meal. She had kept running because that was what humans did. They endured. They adapted. They refused to quit, even when quitting was the only logical choice. "I survived," she said, simply because stopping was not an option. "I had people back home who were counting on me to come back. My family, my friends, my running group. They did not know where I was, but they knew I would not give up." Zara translated for the crew, and Lisa saw something remarkable happen. The alien warriors, beings who had conquered dozens of worlds and defeated countless enemies, looked at her with something she had never expected to see. Fear. Commander Thex spoke quietly to Zara, then turned back to Lisa. "We will return you to your world," he said. "There will be no more tests." As the ship turned toward Earth, Lisa stood once again at the observation window, looking at her blue home growing larger in the distance. She had been gone for only a week, but she felt like she had been gone for years. The experience had changed her in ways she was only beginning to understand. Behind her, she could hear the Vorthak crew making plans. Plans to avoid Earth, to mark it as a forbidden zone, to warn other species that the humans were not prey. They were predators of a kind the universe had never seen before. Lisa smiled as she watched Earth approach. She could not wait to get home. She had a marathon to train for.